Kenn Beatson. Kenn is the co-owner of So Much More 2022 Older Pacing Mare of the Year for Canada at the OBrien Awards. Kenn, congratulations.
Thank you.
What were your expectations coming into the evening with So Much More up against world champion, U.S. divisional winner, Test of Faith?
Well, my expectations were that it was probably going to be a close run thing. I was kind of leaning towards, we had our work cut out for us to win. We raced Test of Faith 6 times this year, I think, and she beat us in all 6. So it came down to how the voters saw things. I guess the outline was, for an OBrien Award, was the horse who made the greatest contribution to Canadian racing, which we spent the entire year racing in Canada. So we're just so thrilled that the voters voted for us. So exciting to be here in person.
And you mentioned the contribution to Canadian racing. What do you think was her greatest contribution to Canadian racing in 2022?
Well, I mean, she has such a big following Canada-wide, partially because she comes originally from the Maritimes, and so she has a lot of fans out there. And we're based in southwestern Ontario, so I know that she has a lot of fans around the London area. And then we race pretty much all year at Mohawk, with the exception of one start that was at London. So, I mean, I think just the fact that she races in Canada all year long and races not just in the top level against the mares, but usually in the winter months spends time racing against the boys as well. I think that's her biggest contribution.
OBrien Award winner in 2020, finalist in 2021, and now a winner again as a 6-year-old in 2022. Over those 3 years, she's made 91 starts, and as I mentioned in an interview before, not a qualifier during that time. What has been the key to her success and longevity in your mind?
Well, her consistency, the fact that she can stay sound. And I mean, in fairness, she did have 3 little breaks in there due to COVID where things were shut down. And that really helped her, actually, because they were, you know, during her 4 and 5-year-old years where she was still filling out, she was still growing. And those little breaks helped out a lot. But yeah, she's coming up on 4 straight years now without having won a qualifier, which is amazing. But it's a testament to how sound she is, how consistent she is.
And a testament to the job that you and your team do.
Absolutely. My dad he's been doing this a long time. He's 81 years old now, but he knows his way around a horse. He's a great trainer, and he does an outstanding job.
What was the reaction from your table when her name was called?
We were thrilled. There was a few screams from our table. I mean, I was kind of thinking we wouldn't win. I think there was others at our table who thought we would win, but it was really, really exciting. It was a lot more thrilling seeing it happen in person than it was 2 years ago when it happened online, which was also thrilling. That was the first one, but being here in person is a thrill that I wish everybody would have a chance to experience something like that.
I think you're sort of getting into my next question. What's been the experience like for you tonight, for you and your family, being here at the OBrien Awards live in person for the first time?
Yeah, like I said, just a thrill. Honestly, a thrill of a lifetime. I mean, yes, we did win one of these awards 2 years ago, but it was online. It was a little bit different. We were all together then, but to be all together tonight, all dressed up in person, it's a thrill.
Looking back on her 2022 season, which race impressed you the most? If you had to pick one.
So to me, I would say the elimination of the Milton, where she cut the mile, and I believe the race went in 48-2. We finished 3rd, beat like 1 length to Test of Faith and Michaela. They were right across the track, but she fought so hard all the way up the stretch, all the way around the last turn, and paced her own individual mile. I believe it was in 1:48.3. That one was, to me, the biggest one of the year. Although the Breeders' Crown Final was also unbelievable, where she sat on the outside for the last 5/8 of the mile or so, and still was coming on strong at the end of the mile. So those two were the biggest.
When we're talking about her drive in the Breeders' Crown, we're obviously talking about her driver, James McDonald. What does it say to you to have a guy like James commit almost exclusively to this horse and hold her in such high regard and speak so highly of her as he has in numerous interviews?
Oh, speaks volumes. I mean, yeah, obviously top driver in Canada for the last 2 years in a row now. And yeah, he'll pick off, you know, a lot of other good horses to drive her. You know, it's funny, they've kind of grown up together a lot in the last 3.5 years-ish is when he kind of started becoming her full-time driver. And, you know, they know each other. He certainly, James certainly knows so much more his tendencies or habits. He knows how to get the most out of her. And I mean, we're thrilled, we're elated that he does drive her all the time, but he knows her. And Sophie, that's our stable nickname for So Much More, she responds to him. And so they make a great team.
So Much More has raced exclusively in Canada. Has that been by design, or was that a product of the pandemic?
It's by design, but we did have every intention of being in the Breeders' Crown 2 years ago.
Right.
And we were basically loading onto the trailer to go to the Meadowlands when she came down sick. So we, you know, we could have been at the US, and we do have every intention of going to the Breeders' Crown later this year if she's still in top form and racing well. But you know, we're a small family operation. We're a small stable, and we like to race locally. You know, one thing I will say is that we missed a lot of big races because of the pandemic. One thing that a lot of people don't realize probably is that she was made eligible to the Confederation Cup, as it was still called, when she was 4 years old, but it was canceled that year because of the pandemic. And I'm pretty sure Mare has never ever won that race. And I'm not saying she would have won, but it would have been fun to see her race because she was right at her best at around that time. I think horses like Century Pharaoh were eligible to that race as well. She would have had her hands full, but it would have been a lot of fun to see her in that race that year.
Can you share an update on her now, and what are the plans for her this year?
Yeah, she's doing great. Yeah, her last start, things didn't really go that well, but it just wasn't her night that night. She's doing great. She's training phenomenally, and we were in the box to go this week, but the class didn't fill. She'll be back in again this next weekend, and we plan to keep racing her through the winter.
Right on. Well, all the best going forward with her, Ken. Congratulations on the success, and thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.